5 of the Coast Guard hearings into the sinking of El Faro almost complete. A former captain with TOTE testified today about his experience with the company, including as a chief mate.
He said that he spent almost a year with Captain Michael Davidson during his time on El Faro. Channel 4's Chris Parento has been at the hearings all day long and joins us now live. Chris?
Tarek, the final two witnesses are finishing up their testimony right now. Much of this week has been very detailed information that's very technical about inspections on board ships like El Faro. Information that the Coast Guard says they need very badly to determine if there are any industry-wide changes that need to be made in light of the sinking of El Faro. But despite all of that technical testimony, there's still a lot of key information that came out of week one of these hearings. Captain Jack Hearn testified Tuesday that within 24 hours of getting on El Moro, a sister ship of El Faro, he noticed holes in the cargo deck, reported them to TOTE, but they didn't immediately report it to the Coast Guard.
In the first 2 weeks of testimony, we got all of TOTE's best witnesses when they talked about how safety was always job one. And then Captain Hearn came in and said, well, you know, maybe that's not always the case. Sometimes they let safety slide in light of other concerns.
We also learned that when El Faro was being converted for Alaskan trade, the surveying department from the American Bureau of Shipping wasn't aware of fructose tanks being added. He said that TOTE claims the added weight was less than 2% of the ship's weight, which is not something they'd have to report.
I would guess that TOTE made these tanks so that they were under 2%, so they didn't need to go through the process of recertifying all their stability and trim.
This morning, Pastor Robert Greene, whose son LaShawn Rivera was killed on El Faro, handed out these bracelets, another way to remember the 33 killed in this tragedy. Some of the families get together every fourth Thursday at Greene's church for grief sessions.
Well, I think there are some families that are in different places as far as their grief process, and some may have overcome that feeling. But there's still others that enjoy coming and have enjoyed being able to come together.
Greene says this week has been very insightful for him, despite how technical it got at times.
Even though my son sailed for 13 years, that we knew very little about some of the conditions that which he sailed under. Certainly, now that we know more, even as far as some of the weather tracking, them receiving information in a timely way, how ships are loaded or unloaded, and all those safety factors.
Unlike the first round of testimony, there will be no testimony happening tomorrow. These hearings resume on Monday and continue through Friday of next week. Live downtown, I'm Chris Parento, Channel 4, the local station.